All right. Hey, good morning, folks. Once again, we are back taking a look at the tropics. Today is Monday, July 1st, 2024. This is a quick morning update. We are watching the imminent landfall of major Hurricane Beryl on the Windward Islands and what is now expected to be the most significant hurricane strike to these islands on modern record. Beryl is a extremely powerful Category 4 hurricane today with winds at least at 130 miles an hour, if not higher. Hurricane hunters, both from NOAA and the Air Force Reserve, are flying the storm this morning and getting continuous data feeds into the National Hurricane Center. But unfortunately, Beryl is just 2 or 3 hours from landfall right here in Grenada, the Grenadines, and St. Vincent, the islands that comprise the southern Windward Islands, with outskirting effects on some other islands as it moves through. But the core of most destructive winds will imminently be bearing down on these islands if it hasn't already begun here in the next couple of hours. So quick update here this afternoon, or this morning rather. I'm coming off a mid-shift, so if I say something funny in this video, I was up all night and, results will vary. But 8 a.m. from the National Hurricane Center, they had the winds at 130 miles an hour. Again, back to Category 4. Was a 3 last night. Had weakened to some degree during an eye wall replacement cycle, but that is over and Beryl is back to business. And unfortunately, it was a very poorly timed eye wall replacement cycle because it gave the storm enough time to begin to re-intensify. And it looks like Beryl is going to make landfall at peak intensity or near peak intensity as it moves through those islands. Movement to the west-northwest at 20 miles an hour. Probably the only saving grace is that this is moving pretty fast, so the impacts will not be long-lasting, but they will be violent and vicious when it does come through. And I want to point out, for a bit of history right here, this is going to be the strongest hurricane on record any month, any time, known to man that's ever been here that we know of in these islands. Okay, the only 3 hurricanes that have even came through at Category 3 or higher intensity are Ivan, Allen, and an unnamed storm in 1891. This isn't June or July. This is just any month, period. Ivan was an incredibly powerful storm once it got to the Gulf of Mexico. Allen is the strongest hurricane in Atlantic Basin history on record after it left here. And then the 1891 storm went a little bit further north. But if we notice where Beryl is coming through, which is just north of Grenada, right through parts of the Grenadines, nothing has really come through here. I mean, Ivan will be the storm of record for Grenada, but Beryl could top Ivan's damage there and will certainly be worse for these islands than Ivan was in 2004. So we are talking about a historic record-setting sort of storm for this region. And again, we've taken off the June or July early season bumpers at this point because we're playing with, real fire at this point. That's how impressive Hurricane Beryl is and how bad this is going to be for these islands. So just for some historical context there. So hurricane hunters are flying this again this morning. The latest NOAA pass through the hurricane does seem to suggest that it might be even stronger than 130. We have fairly reliable dropson data, SFMR winds, and flight level winds, all suggesting this may be closer to 130 knots, not 130 miles per hour, maybe at least 125 knots, which would correlate with about a 140 to 145 mile an hour hurricane, which is pushing us further up in through Category 4, just near the top of Category 4. So at this point, again, we're splitting hairs and it's set and the damage is going to be what it is, but just an incredible storm that continues to defy the odds. I can show you real quick that eyeball cycle that went through last night. You can see Beryl had an eye for a little while and then the eye closed up overnight for a few hours, but then the eye pops back out early this morning, and then that just intense burst of convection, those whites and pinks scattered through that CDO starts bursting back out on the northern eye wall, and that quickly wraps around the storm and now has formed once again a ring of super deep cold cloud tops and convection around that eye. And that kind of presentation is downright chilling if you really kind of know what you're looking at. No doubt Beryl is back to intensifying quickly, if not rapidly. So future of Beryl is still somewhat remains to be seen. Confidence does continue to increase that Beryl is going to track steadily west-northwest of the Caribbean Sea. It's going to come really close to Jamaica, probably skirt the Cayman Islands, and then it looks like a landfall in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula or potentially into Belize and Guatemala on Friday morning or late Thursday night. And then from there, we're going to have to see if Beryl survives that encounter and if it can begin to turn northward, because the steering flow will start to change and it might coax it up more towards Texas or Louisiana. I think if you're east of Louisiana or Texas, you're good to go. It seems like from Beryl. I mean, maybe if it stalls out, maybe some rain or something would come back this way, but largely this appears to be the threat from Beryl. Looks like Louisiana and Texas, especially central South Texas, like Corpus Christi, and folks southward, maybe even like Galveston southward, needs to really be watching this system, because again, it shows as a tropical storm on Saturday. Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula will weaken Beryl, but it will not outright destroy the hurricane. And if it has some time, and especially if it's slowing down and curving, it may have a few days over warm water. And I'm not going to exactly use this comparison directly, but remember Hurricane Harvey in 2017 did the same thing. It was a very weak storm, came across the Yucatan, and then blew up before it made landfall. So I wouldn't discount the fact that Beryl may be a tropical storm on Saturday and be battered up from the Yucatan. If the conditions are favorable in the Gulf and it turns northward, this could still be an issue for Texas. And of course, it could very well just stay steadily to the west-northwest and just go into Mexico, like Alberto and Chris and all the other storms we've had so far basically have. So there's a lot of potential options on the table, and we're going to be watching them carefully. But that's what I got for you guys this morning. I will talk about the rest of the tropics this afternoon. Nothing else imminently threatens. Tropical storm Chris formed last night and went into Mexico, and the system following Beryl is trending downwards in the short term. It's still worth watching, but it's not imminently about to form either. It looks like it's actually kind of backed off some. So we're still keeping an eye on everything else. But again, the big story this morning is Beryl set to make landfall in the next 2 or 3 hours, and it will be the storm of record for parts of the southern Windward Islands. And just hope everybody's ready there, because this is going to be bad. And we'll continue to track Beryl and everything else in the tropics. We'll have another video up this afternoon. So until then, guys, stay safe. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.